Welcome to Talk Across America. I'm Doug Miles, and we're here in beautiful Sarasota, Florida. Always great to talk to our next guest. Been with us several times before, and a good time of the year as we head into the summer season real soon to talk about grilling and barbecue and all those kind of things. And there's a brand new book out. It's called The Brisket Chronicles: How to Barbecue, Braise, Smoke, and Cure the World's Most Epic Cut of Meat. We're joined today by the New York Times best-selling author Stephen Raichlen, who's written many books on cooking, and he joined us by telephone again. Stephen, good to talk with you. How are you?
Very good to talk with you. I'm great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I looked at the archive. I think this is our fifth visit with you. It's always great to chat with you and talk about barbecuing and all that kind of thing. And brisket is something, I grew up in New York, and whenever you went to a deli, you'd see that on the board there. So it's a meat at least people from New York are familiar with, I guess from around the world as well. But a little bit, I guess a lot of people don't exactly know what it is or how to buy it, right? So there's some things about it we got to know.
Right. Absolutely. Well, first of all, brisket is a set of muscles that come from the chest of the steer, and those muscles are load-bearing. They hold the steer up. They enable it to move. So they're very well exercised, which makes them extremely flavorful, but also somewhat tough. And that toughness is why brisket is so challenging to cook. But when you nail it, you just are rewarded with a flavor that won't quit. Now, you mentioned the brisket you find at a delicatessen, and there are actually three forms of brisket you find at a delicatessen. There's the braised sliced brisket. There is pastrami, which is brisket that is cured in brine and then rubbed with a mixture of black pepper and coriander, smoked and then steamed. And then there's finally corned beef, which is brined or pickled brisket. So, right there before you even get to barbecue, three iconic brisket dishes.
I was going to say, pastrami is the sandwich people go to the Carnegie Deli and those famous delis know about, but don't really know what part of the cow is that's from. But it's like the stomach area, right? Is that where that meat's from?
Well, it's the chest.
Chest
but
area,
if a cow were a human being, it would be our pectoris. Our chest muscles, our pectoralis muscles.
Yeah, that's it. That's the famous kind of meat. And you mentioned corn. I didn't realize corned beef until you mentioned it as part of that family too. That is part of that considered brisket.
Well, one thing you can do, you can take this amazing cut of meat, you can travel around the world, on a brisket. So in Texas and Kansas City, you find barbecue, and also in Brooklyn and Manhattan, some very good barbecue. In Jewish-style delis, you find pastrami. At the Irish pub, you find corned beef. If you go up to Montreal, you find smoked meat, which is the Montreal version of pastrami. In Germany, you would find Bierfleisch, which is a brisket that is braised with beer and caramelized onions. When I was growing up, our holiday brisket was brisket braised with sweet red wine and dried fruits. You can continue all the way around the globe to Vietnam, where brisket is the main ingredient in Vietnam's national beef noodle soup, which is called pho.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, you kind of tend to think of it as maybe like a northern, New York kind of thing, but it's all around the world. Brisket, as far as popular.
All over the world. Yeah. Italian bolito misto, Cuban vaca frita, Spanish Caribbean ropa vieja. You find brisket all over the world.
I know you talk in the book, a section there, how to buy the kind of meat you want. Where can you get it? I mean, the regular food stores have it, or do you have to kind of go to a butcher, or what's the best way to get it? The best kinds?
Well, there are two basic forms brisket comes in, and the first is called a packer brisket, and that's a whole brisket comprised of these two muscles. It weighs about 12 to 15 pounds, and that is best ordered from a butcher. If you go to the supermarket, you're likely to find the brisket flat, which is basically cut from the leaner of those two muscles. It's a flat piece of meat, typically sold in chunks that are anywhere from 3 to 6 pounds. And that is the most successful. That's a great piece of brisket for braising, great piece of brisket for stewing, and you can also barbecue it too.
As brisket, you mentioned stewing it, and it's the kind of meat you have to cook for a while, right? It's not like a hamburger. You got to spend some time on it, right?
Well, traditionally you need to cook brisket low. Traditionally you cook brisket low and slow. Barbecued brisket might be smoked for 12 or 16 hours.
Right.
Braised brisket for 3 hours. But you did allude to kind of two of the most revolutionary recipes in my book, The Brisket Chronicles, and both are quick cooked. So one is a brisket hamburger, where you take the brisket meat, you grind it into a hamburger. If you happen to have some barbecued brisket, or you know what would be really amazing with some chopped diced pastrami, fold that into the burger meat, and that's a very quick cook. You can actually cook the brisket in, less than 10 minutes. And if you go to a Korean restaurant, and this recipe is also in the book, Koreans like to freeze the brisket and slice it paper thin on a meat slicer or in a food processor, and then direct grill those paper thin brisket slices on a hibachi. So that's what I call brisket in a hurry. And you can win a bet in a bar by betting somebody you can cook a brisket in a minute or less.
Yeah, we used to have, and my grandmother made it, my mother made it, pot roast. Is that the same is that the kind of meat used for pot roast as well? Brisket?
Well, it depends on the pot roast. Some people use eye of the round, some people use top round or bottom round. But the braised brisket that my Aunt Annette's holiday brisket, that is a pot roast made with a brisket.
Right,
I
thought I saw that in there, yeah.
Method.
Right, great. Now, I know you have so many recipes for the dinner part of the meal, but I was surprised you had some things in there that for breakfast people you can have made have used brisket. The ultimate breakfast hash is one of them. I thought that was interesting. Can you talk about that?
Well, that was one. There's the real deal Holyfield, which is a brisket, bacon, and egg taco. Brisket hash. There are brisket scones. I even have a brisket dessert in the book, and that is brisket chocolate.
I was going to get to that. Yeah,
served by a food truck in Austin, Texas. Yeah. So here in Raichlen land, we are all about brisket 24/7.
Yeah, the cookies are chocolate chip, but you put a little the brisket on it, and it kind of adds a little salty flavor to it, which brings out the chocolate flavor, right?
That's right. That's right. And you sort of look at the brisket and you think, oh, that's a nice little piece of chocolate in the center, and you look closer, and you see it's a burnt end. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
How about, before we wrap it up, how about, you talk about barbecuing, cooking it outside and all that. Do you need any special equipment, or can you put it on your regular barbecue, or what do you recommend?
On a charcoal grill and a charcoal smoker and a big green egg, you can use a pellet smoker, you can use a electric smoker, Kamado smoker. The only thing you can't barbecue a brisket on is a gas grill, because you just can't get the heat low enough, and you can't get enough wood smoke. And, by the way, if people want more information on this topic, my website is barbecuebible.com. That's BARBECUEBIBLE.com. And when you're on the site, be sure and sign up for my Up and Smoke newsletter. It's a free weekly newsletter. It's loaded with tips and recipes and everything you want to know about brisket, barbecue, and beyond. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, I'm Stephen Raichlen, STEVEN
You anticipated my last question, but you talked so much, you knew it was coming, but it's always great to chat with you. Again, The Brisket Chronicles is the name of the book, How to Barbecue, Braise, Smoke, and Cure the World's Most Epic Cut of Meat. And again, Stephen Raichlen, great talking with you again. I know you probably have another book in the works, and we'll chat with you hopefully, if not the end of this year, early next year, but always great chatting with you, and good luck with the book.
Well, thank you. It's great chatting with you, and you made me hungry.
Thank you for joining us today on Talk Across America. Please visit our website at dougmilesmedia.com for more great interviews and content. And if you're interested in any of the books we talk about on the program, please click the Amazon link on our website. It helps support the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again real soon here from beautiful Sarasota, Florida.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.